Hi guys, it's Jean here. Welcome to my channel. So today is Saturday and it is like pouring rain right now. It's like a really miserable weather, so I thought it was the perfect time to do some decluttering. Now if you have been following me for a long time, then you'll know that I started a series of decluttering. I started it over a year ago now because I've been following the Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I have been kind of dragging it because I don't want to kind of rush things in and not think about it, so I want to make a long-term kind of change. So I did start off with like my clothes and accessories, so I have completed all of that, so I'll leave a link down below if you want to watch those. And just to give it a bit of an update, so it has been since a year ago since I started doing that, and right now like I am just really happy with the wardrobe organization. I haven't really been doing a lot of shopping trips much, so I haven't really accumulated a lot. I have done maybe 1 or 2 shopping trips, but my wardrobe is still quite manageable. And ever since I showed the wardrobe tour with my storage system in the boxes, it has definitely helped a lot. So it has been the neatest like for a few months now. So yeah, so that's one less thing I have to worry about, so I'm really happy with that. But since I have time, this is something I've been, I guess, kind of procrastinating and leaving because I really don't want to do it, but it is something that I must do. So before I continue, just to let you know, if you hear any noises, it's because it is pouring rain outside and it's not exactly the best background to record this. And also I have an assistant Coco here that's helping me, although he is kind of taking a snooze and snoring right now. So if you hear any background noises, that is why. And sorry for the mess. I know I look like a mess right now, but I don't feel like I need to wear makeup to do this because I don't see the point. But yeah, today I am going to declutter all the books and paperworks. I have, like I said, been procrastinating because I don't really want to do this because books can get quite heavy, and it's quite like, you know, once you start bringing things out, it's a big commitment to follow it through. So since I have time today, I thought I might as well just start this and get it over and done with. So what I've done is I've just grabbed as much books and paperwork as I can from around the house, everywhere around the house. I didn't realize, like I didn't think I had a lot of stuff anyways, but once you put it all in the same spot, you realize how much stuff you actually accumulate, especially if you have a house all to yourself as well. It doesn't look like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have more stuff than this, but for me it seems like a lot considering most of these I didn't even know I had. So yeah, it's pretty much like a big wake up when you do actually have time to sit down and do this. So I'm going to go through and show you kind of like an overview of what I have and start, I guess, organizing. So this is an overview of all the stuff that I had. So these are all like books, paperworks, and photo albums and things like that. It is definitely a lot smaller than the accessories and clothing declutter, so hopefully this won't take a lot of time. To me, like even though it looks quite small, to me it's still quite a lot considering half of these I've forgotten I've never looked at, or it's just been sitting there eating dust. So what I have here is a bunch of like photo albums, some childhood memorabilia and letters, a whole lot of books and brochures, and even like old high school reports I've still got, and also folders of like tax receipts, bills, and all those kind of stuff. So just a bit of a recap in what the book explains. It just explains that as humans, like we tend to accumulate books and stuff for knowledge, and even though sometimes we read it once, we may never read again, we still keep it there for some reason. Sometimes we buy books and we never get to read it, and we'll say we'll read it someday, but that day never comes. When it comes to documents and like paperwork and things like that, as a general rule, you disregard everything and throw everything out. Me personally, like when I grew up, when I was a kid in primary school, I was never a very strong reader. I was very shy, and I didn't want to admit that I did have problems reading. I don't think it was because I had any issues or I was dyslexic or anything. I think just growing up with like I guess first generation Asian parents, it's very hard to ask them to help you to read, nor did we really have that, you know, reading bond together, like every night we'll read together and things like that. So I didn't want to admit that, and I was shy. So every time when it came to primary school and we had sessions where we'll just read books, I'll just kind of pretend I was reading and skimming through I'll pretend I'll be skimming through pages, and yeah, so I never really got into reading, so reading was never a thing. But as I got older and I started feeling more comfortable reading, I guess I still have trouble reading out loud because I always confuse my words, or I just verbal vomit and say things even though it's not what it's saying on the paper. So but as I got older though, I just felt more comfortable starting to read books, specific genres and stuff like that. I haven't found my calling, but I also feel like I'm not really an avid reader. But I do feel like personally, if you have books, it just makes you look more of a knowledgeable person and somewhat smarter, I guess. So half of these books as well. So I aimlessly buy books. I have a bad habit of, you know, especially when they have the book sales where it's like $5 a book, I would buy all these like cookbooks or like picture books or like coffee table books, because I feel like if we have books around the house, it just makes you feel more knowledgeable, if that makes sense. But realistically, half of these books I have never read, or I don't even notice is in the house anymore. So before I get started and carried away, I think what I'll do is I'll start with the books first, because I think it's harder to go through like photo albums and things like that, as well as documents and paperwork. So hopefully this is a success, but I'll go through it with you and see how I go. So the books are probably the easiest to go through because I'm not an avid reader. Reading is not, I guess, the top of my thing, so it wasn't really that hard. So I'm quite happy that I cut it down to about 1/3. Kept 1/3. Most of it that I've thrown out. So I've noticed, especially now in times, is that I have a lot of cookbooks because I figured cooking is one thing that I could do, and I like looking at pictures and recipes. But to be very honest, like I find that cookbooks are pretty redundant because, you know, there's internet, and I find that when I'm thinking of something to make, I don't generally go to books. I just look on the internet because it's just so much easier. There's so much different recipes to compare, so I rarely go towards actual books. So I have kept some like donuts and like mostly desserts and stuff like that, as well as some of my favorite cuisines. Like I've got some Chinese ones because it's really hard to find Chinese online to do, and I've also got just some everyday ones that seem very easy to follow. I find as well, being Australian, is that a lot of the recipes are either in American or British, and the different measurements are really hard to convert for me. So I have kept some of that, but majority of them I am actually giving away because I just don't look at it, and I find it really redundant because I usually go to my phone rather than going to a book. But that being said though, what I do have are some of these exercise books. So I actually use these as my cookbook. So generally when I find a recipe that works well with me, or something that I can make and I make often, then I write it down. So instead of having cookbooks that I refer to that I may not look at, I actually write my favorite recipes in these books, just so it's in my own version, so I know the correct measurements, and usually I go towards these. I also have like a little recipe book where I've just kind of put in recipes that I found. Just like, I know with like Coles and Woolworths, there's always like free seasonal magazines that you can pick up, and they have really easy recipes because you know that those ingredients are found in store anyway. So what I've done as well is with those books, and they're free books as well, so I've just kind of, you know, ripped out the recipes and put it in here. So if I do need recipes, they're in here as well. And the good thing is they're free. So I do also have this as a backup, so I don't feel bad throwing half of these cookbooks away. A lot of my books as well is I've got a whole lot of these Penguin books because I think Penguin books are really classic, and I try to get the classic books. However, I find it really hard to get into because I'm not really into literature, and just, yeah, it's just really hard. So unfortunately I did try, but I'm gonna get rid of these as well. A lot of books I actually try to buy because I think books are a good gift for people, because like I said, it's all about knowledge. A lot of these were like $6 sales, so I thought it would be good to get like something like this for my parents. It's called Timor, A National Reborn, because I guess they kind of went through it. I thought, you know, maybe if they read through it, kind of bring back memories, and like, I guess, have something that they can relate to. Unfortunately, they never got to read it, so I actually took it back off them thinking, okay, I will read it, but I never did. So a lot of these books I kind of just inherited off my parents because I don't think they've read it, and also I like buying biographies. I love reading biographies, but I never got a chance of reading it, so I guess these are going. I have a lot of series as well, so I have to admit, the first book that really got me started reading was Twilight, and I loved it so much, and I've got a whole lot of the Twilight series here. However, I think now I'm past that age where, you know, it doesn't bother me if I don't have the books. I did get this collection for Christmas because I really liked the Hunger Games, and I thought, you know what, let's read the book, because I think books are always better, but I never got around reading it, so I am gonna let this go. And I have a lot of books I've kept because friends have given me, because I feel like I need to do it justice and respect and at least read it before I throw it out if I decide I don't like to read it. This was given to me by someone that I just don't get it, like I don't know anymore, so I don't have any feelings towards it, so I'm happy. I think I've kept this for so long because I felt bad because I was given to it as a gift, but you know what, we don't talk anymore, so I don't really feel bad getting rid of it. 50 Shades was something that really got me started reading, also opened up a whole new genre for me. So I got piles of all these like erotica kind of books, which I actually enjoy reading, not because of the erotica side, but more because the love stories just seem more realistic to day by day, if that makes sense. But it's something that I'll read once and never again. So a lot of these, you know, I think it's time to get rid of them because I don't read them again. Now that I know what I'm going to get rid of, I think what I'm going to do is try and sell some of these. Like nothing overly expensive, just to see if I can get at least some money out of it. If I don't end up selling it, then it's not really a problem. I'll probably just donate it. Moving forward though, I do still want to, I guess, encourage myself to read, but rather than, I guess, buying books, I did buy a Kindle for Boxing Day last year. So I think Kindle's a good idea because it saves a lot of space. You can download it, buy it and keep it here, so you're not clogging up your house. And also sometimes, as much as I like physical books, I like to read physical books, I think Kindles are also good because it means that you can take this anywhere and it's light, it's convenient, and you don't feel like when you drop it on your face it's gonna hurt. And also there are some books that you may not want people to know you're reading, especially when you're in the train. So I think these are good, so you can read whatever you want and, you know, no one will really know. So I'm happy that I end up getting this, so I can transfer, I guess, the books that I do want to read. I can just buy it or download it and read it on the Kindle. Moving forward though, I think obviously cookbooks I probably won't buy anymore because there's really no point unless there's a specific recipe that I can't find anywhere else. But it's really that scenario where you can't find it online. And my habit is buying books because they're on sale and they're cheap. That's something that, you know, I definitely won't do anymore. Unless I really want to read a book, I'll buy it, because a lot of times if you buy books because they're cheap or on the sale and you say I'll get around reading it, you never do. So I guess that's something that I've learned as well. So only buy books that you want to read. You don't even have to buy books. Utilize like the library. I bought a library card like a few years ago, and library books are free, so why not just read it, return it and give it back. If you do really enjoy it, or you think that you will read it again, or you use it as a reference, then you could buy it either on a Kindle, like on a ebook, or just, you know, if you really want it, then just buy it. So that is all the books. I want to move on to photo albums, because a lot of the photo albums, I guess for me, like obviously that's something that I want to keep because I have a lot, but it's more just, I guess, reorganizing it and also finding a home for it. So going through the photo albums and some childhood memorabilia and memories, I was obsessed with scrapbooking in one stage, I think around 2007, and I made all these big scrapbooks, I think 2007 to 2010. So this one was the one I made, like a baby album. Look, it's me. I don't know if you can see, I must use a lot of glue because it's starting to go weird. Look at my butt. Anyway, so I pretty much took like all the baby photos, and for some reason, because, you know, back then there's only one copy, and I kind of cut it all up. So this is, I guess, the only baby photos left, and I did a hell lot of scrapbooking out of this. So look how cute I was. I was so cute. But yeah, so this took me a while to do actually, but yeah, so I'm so happy that I kept this because it's probably the only photos I have left of when I was a kid. I also have some other ones with scrapbooking. I think these were all around 2007 or so, like all these stuff. So I'll probably keep these. It's not like I actually go back and flip them, but photos, I guess, are all memories. So these are all like memories of back then. I have these huge ones. So when I went to Europe in like 2010 and I decided to scrapbook all my photos and stuff like that. So it took me forever because I was there for like 6 weeks and I have like over like how many pages. I haven't actually finished. Like I've left little page like areas to write little notes because I did have a little journal that I took with me while I was there, but I never got around finishing it, so I'm not sure if I will continue finishing it, but it's a good memorable because this was like one of the biggest trips I went on. So have all that. So I'm not sure where I'm going to put these. I have some more I guess guest books and stuff from my wedding, and also we had a photo booth, so they had like photos and stuff as well. So these I'll obviously store away. And how cute is this? This is me and my grandma at my wedding. She's so cute. It's really sad. Like, she's still alive. She's like 96, I believe, this year. I love her so much. So this is like one of my favorite photos. I might see if I have the original and like actually print some out, but that's one of my favorite photos. And I've also got these photo albums, so they look kind of really destroyed because when Coco was a puppy, he went through and destroyed it. But I did start, I guess, moving to these little books. So if I have any photos I want to print out, I'm going to start using these because they're just smaller and more compact. This is one that I made. This is Kyung. Look how cute he was. So this is his kind of, they didn't have much photos of him, so it's a little bit of his baby photo in there. I've got some, I think this is the trip we went to Singapore a few years ago. I did a little scrapbook of that. So I think these albums are just cute because they're a lot smaller as well and more compact. And I've also got a lot of these. So these are all like primary school. So this is me in kinder. Like, look how shocking I was. You can see my undie. How bad. Anyway, so, and this story as well. So this is my kinder photo. My cousin, who was like 2 years younger than me, he threw a concrete block in my face. So that's why I've got these 2 little dots. But I was so cute when I was little. And yeah, and all these memories from high school, like, we remember, I'm not sure if you remember, do you used to create like little memo books and get your friends to sign it and things like that? Like, I don't know what kids were thinking back in those days. And I have got 2 of these because I made one for myself and Cam. This was like an anniversary one here, and they're exactly the same, like 2 of the exactly same books, and it's just like a little scrapbook. Like I said, I went through a scrapbooking stage, so I've got all these like scrapbooks. So I don't have a lot of these memories, but it is something, these are obviously something that I am going to keep. Moving forward, nowadays especially, I find that we take heaps of photos, especially on our phones and stuff, but we rarely print them out. So I'm really cautious as well now. So obviously, print out the ones that you want, but photos itself, the good thing is I guess you can store everything online, so it's easier to track, whereas back then it was really hard to, I guess, store that information. So it's really rare now for me to print photos out, but I guess the ones I normally do I just frame. But these are just good to have around because sometimes, you know, it's just really nice to go back and look at it. The ones from primary school and high school, those I'll obviously keep. I might filter because I got a lot of junk, just like useless. I used to collect little trinkets and stuff, so I might just get rid of those. But I also want to show you, so I'm not sure whether I've mentioned it previously, but I lived in Darwin for a year when I was 14. And when you're 14 is like that prime age where you know, it's all about friends and stuff like that. So I've got this box with all the letters we used to send back and forth with my friends. I did one point read through and start getting rid of it because I had a whole lot of like letters and stuff like that. And it's so funny reading through these letters. Like, do you remember like used to folding these letters? Let me see if I can get one. Like these little mini folds. Like, I used to love getting letters from my girlfriends, and we used to write back and forth to each other all the time. So I have, like, most of these letters are old, and it's good to have, but it's not something that I generally read. So I think at one point I started reading them and then just throwing them out, because some memories are good to have, but then once you read it, just let it go. But I've kept most of these. I might just go through it and just keep some of it, so I'm not keeping a whole lot. But yeah, so those I'm still going to keep. And also forgot to show you guys as well my wedding photos. So this is ridiculously huge. Like, I think they're good, but if I was to do it all again, I'm not sure if whether it's necessary to get a large album. So this was my wedding album. I really love the photography of these, but it's really, really big, so it's not something that I generally look at, but look how nice the photos were. My wedding was a bittersweet day, to be honest. Like, I love the wedding and stuff like that, but to be honest, it was really, really hectic that day, and I was so glad that it was over. We had like 406 people at our wedding, which sounds big to a lot of people. Some people may think it's small, but considering I had half of those people I didn't really know, like, it was just really hectic. This was a small coffee table book that we got, which just held a bit more photos, just to give to, like, I think we gave it to my parents. But yeah, so I'm going to keep all these, obviously. Just need to find a place for it, a secure home. So I've just cleared up all the books and photo albums, put them, stored them away, or kept them at eye contact, so it reminds me to look at it as well. Next up is documents and paperworks. I admit I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to storing documents, because you never know whether you still need it or not. So I've got 2 of these briefcases, like, filled with tax stuff as well as receipts and everything like that. I'm not going to go into detail and show you exactly what I have, but pretty much I have kept, like, anytime we go and do our tax, which we do yearly, I've kind of kept them aside just in case. Also got some work related stuff, old invoices, just old everything in terms of, like, any specialist appointments, medical history, any, like, bits of paper or anything I got back, I kind of stored in here. So a lot of these stuff I may not actually need, or it's past, but I try to keep records just in case you need it. I have checked out the Australian ATO website, and according to that, you don't really need to keep any files more than 5 years for tax purposes. I think in some places it used to be 7, or in some countries it's 7 years. So what I'm going to do, I'm pretty sure I have things here from like 2001, so it's over 5 years. So I'm going to probably get rid of them. Like, they're not really anything in particular, they're just like when I claimed them, like the invoice and stuff I got back from them, like information. So those stuff I'm probably going to throw away. Now I know in some countries, like maybe in America, it's recommended that you keep all your receipts for tax purposes and file them away. I don't think I generally keep receipts unless it's for warranty purposes or returns. So I don't really have a lot of them, and a lot of times, like, you know, I just forget where I put it because you don't think about keeping that information. So I'm going to clear out this folder and get rid of anything that's more than 5 years. Also any irrelevant information, like I've got stuff dating back to 2010, 2012, which I probably don't need anymore. I've got 2 other folders here with bills. So these are all like bills and statements. Statements is a big one. So, you know, like when it comes to bank statements and things like that, I generally keep them for some reason, not that I even look at it. And I know a lot of times you can get things online, which I know the newer, like new accounts and new kind of setup, you do everything online, but I'm pretty sure I still got bank statements here from like 2000, so like 2004 or something like that. So those stuff I definitely don't need anymore. Now bills itself, like bills, a lot of companies prefer to go paperless, where you can view it online. I personally, that's the only one I prefer to have, unless, you know, there's a fee, or if it's like a mobile bill, I'm on a contract for 24 months, so I don't necessarily need to go back, and plus all that information is online anyway, with my previous bills. But when it comes to like utility bills, like electric or gas, I still prefer to get paper ones, because things like that, when you're not locked into a contract, you can always compare. I'm not sure whether you can get that information online, whether they do store bills, but I have this weird thing that they may change it, or I don't know, it sounds completely strange, but I prefer to keep paper. Like when I get the bill, is to keep the paper, keep it on record. You may not need it for a while, just maybe enough to collect. So once a year or every 6 months, you can review it to see, make sure you're getting the best prices. I know especially like electric and gas bills, like they go up constantly, so it's always good to kind of keep those records and just compare. And then once you've compared and know that you've got the right price, then, you know, you can disregard it and start the year fresh and collect it and then review it every once in a while. I guess same with like car insurance, any insurance as well. If I get paper stuff, I generally keep it so I can review it year by year and see whether I'm getting the best value out of that. So I've got like a lot of files. I'm going to go ahead and just review it. So anything that's past warranty that I no longer need, anything that's more than 5 years, I don't even need. The rule is with Marie Kondo is disregard everything, just for my own for my own sanity. I prefer to keep it in case, so if anything does happen, I know I've got a copy of the receipt so I can, you know, claim it or dispute it or something like that. So I did start this at about 1 o'clock, I believe, so it's taken me about 4 hours to go ahead and complete it. It was definitely something that I had to do, so I'm actually really glad that I went through. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I actually did get rid of quite a lot of books, so I'm quite happy with that. I guess now it's more changing that mindset and continuing on, so not accumulating more books. Anything where I can, for example, like mobile bills or things like that, if I can get paperless version, electronic like utilities and stuff, I'll probably still get it because I like to compare anyways. But make sure though that every year you do go ahead and go through, look at it, compare, and also throw them out as well. So I'm quite happy with how things have turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of inspired you to do the same as well. Like I said, I highly recommend reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying, because I found it really helpful, and it's something that I think it's good because it's not like a once-off thing where you do it and then you go back to normal. It actually helps you change that mind so you continue to clear out your living space, I guess. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to watch more. Thanks for watching. Bye.